Hello and welcome back to the She is Courageous podcast. I am absolutely delighted, and I'm going to give a little bit of backstory in a second because I am so delighted that we are finally here. This is, in truth, I think it's actually a third time lucky for myself and my wonderful guest today. We have had some technical challenges making this happen, but we were determined, weren't we, Itzia? We were absolutely determined. So let me just introduce you to today's guest. So Itziar Martos is here with me today, and I'm going to get Itzia to tell us her story in a second. But in short, here is why I reached out to Itzia, because at the age of 21, Itzia lost her sight. She then went on to become a sought after international speaker and, just to add to that, Miss Spain. She is breaking barriers in business with absolutely unmatched resilience. She is from Spain originally. She is a speaker that proves that limitations fuel innovation. She inspires global audiences with her blend of expertise and authentic storytelling. Her story is incredible. That's the bio, but I'm going to ask Itzia to, first of all, say hello. I'm so glad we're finally here and we've got the recording working. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here with us, and I cannot wait for you to share your story with the listeners. As I just said, we have had a few challenges getting to this moment, but here we are with
Hello,
big smiles
hello,
on
and
our
thank you
faces,
so much for
ready to
having
make
me.
this happen.
And
It's your
it's so
welcome
amazing
to
the
the
job
She is
that you are
Courageous
doing with the
podcast. Thank you for
people,
being here.
because sometimes we feel alone, and hearing those stories makes other people feel more
It's
happy. So I'm very glad that you are doing this, and thank you for that. And like you said, this is our third time. Like everything in life, we don't give up and we continue, and we want to do.
You know what? Yes, this is the perfect example of a bit of resilience, a bit of persistence, and a desire to make something happen, which I'm always talking about on the podcast. So yeah, I honestly, we have had back and forth with emails. We're determined to make this happen. We've connected a few times, haven't we? And Itzia, I am in awe of your story. So before we do anything, could I ask you to share your story with the listeners? Tell everybody about your journey, how what you've been through to get here. Take us back, because I've just alluded you lost your sight at 21. But actually, if we can
Yes,
go
of
back a little
course.
bit further, tell
My
us about
story
Itzia,
started in
tell us the
Spain, in the
story,
south of
and then
Spain, in
let's dig
Ronda.
into kind of where
I
that's
grew
taken you
up in
since.
a farm, in a really normal, traditional family in Spain. Of course, like everyone, growing up as a millennial, I had all the childhood that my parents were like those people that get the freedom for the first time in Spain. So obviously we all have our things in when we were child, but I was consider myself like a normal kid. I didn't have like a bad experience being a kid. And then, like you said, when I was 21, I had my life. I just finished studying photography, something that I will always love. I wanted to do something creative in my life, and when I was 21, I discovered that I was seeing like a blurry. I didn't know what it was. So I was like, okay, maybe this is the time to get my first glasses in my life. So when I went to the doctor and they told me that this was not normal, that it was something more deep happening, that I need to do some research, is when my nightmare started. I have been for 5 years going to doctors, another doctor, a private doctor, a public doctor, any kind of doctor that I can find, and they will tell me, we don't know what do you have, but you are losing vision every day. So we cannot tell you if you are going to become completely blind tomorrow, next month, or maybe you are going to stay like you are. So for a 21-year-old, that is a big change in your life. And that is when I was feeling more depressed, I will say, because the not knowing
Amazing.
what do you have, I think is when you start to worry and overthinking and say, oh, what is the worst thing that can happen? So I get really, really depressed at that time. But then at 25, they discovered that I had the Stargardt disease. It's a rare disease that not a lot of people has. I think I was I never met anyone like me in Spain. Here in the UK, we have a group, and I met like 5 people. So you can imagine there is not too many people who has that. But with a diagnosis, I was feeling like, okay, I have this. They still not have a cure for this, and I still losing vision every year. But I can know what to do, what to eat, and things that I can make to make this slow. And like you said, at that moment I was really depressed, and someone recommended me to do something that proved me that I can do anything. And I I was like, I don't know what to do. What can I do? So because I was modeling, my background is photography, modeling. I have been playing with that for my teenagers years, and I was like, why not sure join the Miss Spain pageant competition just to try and see how that is. And, you know, because I didn't know actually that if you win, you go to another country. I was like, okay, this is like my
Why not?
country. You go to a place and that's it. It was not like that. It was a big thing. It was a big thing. Then I went there and I won Miss Bikini Universe Spain. And for me that day, I was really happy. I achieved the things that I wanted to achieve. I was completely happy. But then they told me, no, you have to go to China to represent Spain. And for me, that was like a big challenge because I was losing a lot of vision that year. I was like, oh, I will be able to do this or not. So being there by myself, being with all the friends that I met in that country, they opened my mind a lot, listening about other cultures and all those things. And when I came back with a top 10 from the world competition. And I come back like, oh my gosh, I can do anything that I want in life. And since then, I never stop. And now I feel like I have that inside, that strength is the word that normally I use for me because everything that I want to do now, I achieve it. Like I know I don't have any doubt that I can do it. And that brings me to moving here to the UK in a pandemic world. In 2020, I decided to come here just to try. I was happy in Spain, but I was like, okay, let's try to see how London is. And since I moved here, I got that feeling that you have to have your own business. You have to do all those things that you will not be able to do in your country. And I never stopped doing things here now.
I just honestly, all I've got at the moment is wow, because even the way you tell your story, and I know it's probably the second or third time I've heard you tell the story to me. I know this is new for the listeners, and each time I hear it, I am still sat with my eyes wide open. And as I often do when I'm listening to guests, I scribble things down. And I think I scribble the same things every time you tell me because they stand out. And first of all, I guess let's just summarize. So there you were, you're an average, you say, I was a pretty normal kid. I grew up on a farm in Spain. I was studying photography. You were a creative. And then your vision starts to get blurry. You think, oh gosh, I'm going to need glasses. But actually, it gets worse. It gets worse. And no one can really understand what it is. I mean, I think it was 5 years you said that you were going through kind of tests and doctors to try and get answers. What was it like? I mean, you said yourself, you used that word depressed. I mean, like, just if we just talk about, I don't want to spend too much time in the dark part, okay, because you've done so much good with your story. But I guess just like, if I were to ask you, how did you get through those 5 years, that not knowing, the seeking answers that weren't coming? How did you keep going in that really challenging time as your vision got worse and no one could tell you
Yeah,
when it was
and
going
it's
to, would it
hard
get
because it's
better,
not
would it get
just
worse, would you
yourself,
lose your
it's the
sight
people
completely, etc.,
around
etc.?
you.
How
I
did
had a
you
boyfriend at
get
that
through
time.
that?
It was hard for us because you are thinking like, oh, we're going to get married, we are going to have kids. And then I realized like, okay, maybe if I have a
Right.
kid and he hurt herself and I cannot see that, how can I imagine this, and my partner needs to be bringing me to every place because I cannot drive. So that is a plus apart for all the things that I am feeling. And for me, like you said, everyone has like those bad days that you are in bed and you don't want to do anything, and you are like, why this is happening to me? But something inside me, I don't know why. Sometimes I have that strength that it tells me like, no, you can do this. You can manage anything in life, and it's a voice that everyone has inside, I will say. But sometimes because we grow up thinking not to hear our body and listen just to the things that they told you because the grandpa told them that. So we are like, okay, no, I have to do this. But your inside, your gut feeling is telling you, like, no, I know what you are. But we sometimes silence that voice. I don't know why we do that.
Oh, it's here. You're talking my language right now, as you know. I mean, this is one of the reasons we started talking. I mean, first of all, thank you for sharing that little bit of insight that you said. I was in a relationship, and you start thinking, gosh, if my sight's going, what will, will I be able to have children? What will that mean? I guess the reality of starting to face how these scenarios could play out was both scary, and it's this constant unknown, isn't it? And this is what we do when we don't have the answers, we fill the gaps. Yeah. I was going to ask you, because you said, of course, you had those moments where you were like, why is this happening to me? But I had this inner strength. Now, I guess I'd love to know, where do you think that strength came from? Because you're right, everything you said after that is, we've all got it in us, but we've all learned to not
I
listen
think
to it
it's
or quieten it
mostly
down.
a
Where do
choice. It
you think
sounds
you
simple. I
learned
know
to
that it is
listen to
not,
that strength? Where do you think
but
that
it's
came
a
from?
choice. We have the choice of being the victim or doing something about this. It's like everything in life. Like when you are going to have a children, you're never ready. You make that choice, like, okay, I'm going to do this now. So this is the same. You don't feel ready to, okay, yes, I'm going to be not depressed tomorrow, but you make that decision, like conscious decision, like I'm not going to be like this anymore, because being like that is just you punishing yourself. It's not the universe, it's just you saying like, I deserve this. But you have the power to say like, no, today this is going to change. And when you change, everything around you change.
Okay. I mean, oh gosh, I love this. I absolutely love it. I guess I'm really intrigued. Do you remember like a moment where that was, because you said yourself at first you were like, why is this happening? And like, what do I do? And started to worry about it.
For me,
Do
it
you
was
remember
more
the
because
moment you were like, okay, this is what it is. I'm
my
going
disease
to
is,
make the
if I
best of it.
get the
I'm going to make
stress,
different
I go
choices.
worst. So I need to learn how to manage my stress. Before that, I didn't know anything about that. I was thinking that that was a random thing that
Right.
happens to you. But
Okay.
then I started to manage stress, and I love to learn. I love to go and research about things and learn how can I do this, how can I do that. And I started how to release all the stress in your body, connecting with your body. And it's not an easy thing for one day. So it was all the learning that I did bring me to the person that I am today. So everything, I was discovering yoga, I was discovering the breath work, and all those things together makes me realize like, no, this is not worth it.
Yes, I love it. I really do. And I think you are the best example I have ever experienced. I've read books, of course, I've read books of different people's stories, but having this conversation with you, the conversations we've had, where you could have taken a very different path. You could have gone down the route of why is this happening to me? And, it's ruined everything I want to do. And yet you chose to understand to the best of your ability what is happening to me and how can I manage it? How can I make it better? And in that journey, you then discovered just how strong you are. And I guess that's the bit, isn't it? Actually, it's almost which came first, the chicken or the egg? Were you already strong, or did you realize how strong you could be and make yourself stronger? Who knows? Can we just talk about Miss Spain? So you kind of said, so I just thought, like, what and forgive the way that I'm about to word this, but what actually made you think, well, that would be a good idea? What on earth were
Yeah,
you
yeah.
thinking? Like, what
I
made
am a
you want
Leo.
to
I
enter
love
Miss Spain? Why Miss Spain? Of
stage and I
all the
love to
things that you
shine.
could have
That
done.
is one thing. I always love modeling. I have been doing modeling for a long time, but with the pageants, is they have something that I really love because modeling, you need to show the clothes of the designer and make that clothes shine. But when you go in a pageant, you have to show yourself because every girl is in the same bikini, every girl is in an evening gown. You need to show yourself. Is something that I always love from pageants that you are like, wow, they are all in the same bikini,
Yeah.
but that girl is shining because of her personality on how she is, and that's what I was like, yes, I want to do this. This is the way that I want to go.
Ah.
Probably
Do you think you would
I
have
don't know
done a
because you never
pageant,
know,
Miss
but
Spain,
it
if
was
you
not
hadn't lost your sight?
or not with the commitment. I will say, yeah, because I got the commitment like wake up early, train, doing all the things that you have to do. Were really passionate because of that.
Yeah.
Because you never know,
Yeah.
but I will say that not with that commitment.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, how things that occur. Like, I personally do not believe that our life is mapped out. I believe that we map out our lives. And even if we don't intentionally do that, by not intentionally doing anything, we still are making decisions. Often say not making a decision is making a decision. And therefore, sometimes we let things happen to us because we don't take control. And it's just really interesting when I was hearing you there talk. I think I just found myself wondering, do you think you would have done that if you hadn't? If I could ask, I mean, this sounds like such a stupid question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What for
Hmm.
you was the absolute hardest part of losing your sight?
That is a hard question. I think no one asked me that before. Uh, yeah.
And I don't like to put anyone on the spot. So because I'm sure there was so many. Do you know what? As we were talking, I was thinking about a conversation and I'm going to share it honestly. And I want anyone that's listening will know that I say things when I think them, and I only mean them with the right intent. So I don't want to offend anyone. But people often, I'm going to inverted commas, air quotes, play the game. Like, or you get asked questions like, if you had to lose your sight or your hearing, which would you like? I've had that dinner table conversation. Yeah. And my husband, he won't mind me sharing this. So my husband has always said he could not live without sound. But and so therefore, if he had to choose, he would probably live without sight.
Yeah.
And I think I'm the other way round. I think I would really struggle to live
Yeah.
without sight, but wouldn't necessarily. Now, I have no idea and I
I will
cannot
say
imagine. But
or
that was
what
going through
makes
my
me
mind when I was
feel
asking you the question.
like a
So, yeah,
bit
I just thought I'd ask,
bad with
very
that is when
randomly,
because
what
I
the
had
hardest
lost
part
central
about losing your
vision,
sight
so I
was.
can walk. You will not ever notice that I'm blind if I don't tell you, but I cannot recognize people because I cannot see the faces of the people. So I feel really bad when I go to a networking event or I go to wherever and I cannot
Yeah,
see the people and people start to
right.
think because maybe they don't know that I'm blind, that I don't know, that I don't want to say hi to them and things like that. That I will say that is the part the most frustrating for me. But now I normally, when I meet a person, it's like, say hi to me because I cannot say hi to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And having got to know you a little bit, I can imagine that being quite challenging for you because you are such a people person. You absolutely love the connection, don't you? And you love, yeah, I can imagine that being difficult for you. Um, okay, so 21 years of age. I mean, a life changing event happens, and it doesn't just happen in one moment, it happens over the period of the next 5 years. You have literally, it's taken that, flipped it on its head, and made it your purpose to bring that story out to the world, to show others. And you said in there, I mean, gosh, you used words when you were telling your story that I know people listening would be like, I would love to be able to say that about myself. You said, I can do anything I want in life, and I don't have any doubt. And I think, what you're trying to share with us there is like this experience has absolutely strengthened that for you. It's almost that if I can deal with this, I can deal with anything. And then going to China, like again, if I can go to China without myself, I can do anything.
Yeah.
So I guess if I asked you now, like what is your mission right now in life,
Yeah,
business?
because
What
like
is
you
it you
said, that was not
really want
when
to
I was a
achieve?
child. I
Because you're
was
going to.
considered
You've
a
already told me
shy
that. You're
person. I
absolutely
had
making it happen.
my self-esteem. I had to work a lot on that, even with silot or not. And becoming the person that I am makes me realize that I was like this from the beginning, but I lost that on my way. So now I want to help other people to do the same. And I'm creating a charity to help people with hidden disabilities, because everyone, I know there is a lot to help people with disabilities, and that is amazing, but I still see in that gap the people with hidden disabilities like ADHD or dyslexia. There is something that people normally don't notice, but they still need help. When you go to an airport, or making your own business. When I was creating my own business, I noticed that I didn't have like a lot of help. They help you to find
Mm.
a normal job, or they help you with a pension, but they don't help you to grow in that sense. So that's my focus for the charity, to help other people that they feel like they are alone and they want to do things. So I'm like, yes, I want to be there. I want to create projects, and I want to help other people and create awareness for the people that they don't know, because the charity is open to everyone. You don't need to have a hidden disability to be there, but to create that awareness about the hidden disability. So I'm really excited with that.
It's an incredible mission that you're on, and it's really. I'd like to talk about this kind of hidden disability for a second, if we could, because it's a really interesting one. I imagine I don't have a hidden disability, and I'm very aware of that, very conscious of that. Like you just said, there's a lot of help for people with very, I guess, obvious disabilities, disabilities that people understand and one can see with immediacy. But when you have a disability that isn't immediately obvious, I guess for you as an individual, there's an added piece where you either have to announce said disability, which makes it a bigger thing than perhaps you want to, or you don't announce, but you have the challenges you face
Yeah.
because of the hidden disability. And how do you bring awareness to that without, yeah, does that make sense what I just described there? Because like you said, when we first spoke, and I think if I recall correctly, when we first spoke, I may have had a moment where I thought, or maybe she's not blind anymore. Maybe that's the point of the story, because I'd heard your story, I'd reached out to you. You wouldn't know from looking at you and
Yeah,
talking
I
to
lost
you that you
60% of
have
my central
a
vision, so it's
severely
a
impaired
lot.
vision. I think you're not 100% blind, are you? You have like severely impaired. Yeah, that is a lot. Yeah. It's a really, like, this hidden disability piece is a really interesting one. Have you experienced, I guess I want to say, what's the word,
When
prejudice,
you explain, they
where people
understand. But for
haven't
example,
understood
last week, it's
your
not a
disability, or
long time
you,
ago, I
yeah,
went with a
from a
group
hidden
of
disability
blind
perspective.
people together to a place, and it was me and four people with a cane. So when we went to the place, the person was speaking to me from far away, like she was thinking that I was the organizer or something, and she was making things, but I cannot see her. And she was like, "Oh, no, no," and I was like, "No, no,
Right.
I'm not the person in charge. I'm here. I'm blind too." So I need to explain myself a lot of time, or when I'm on the underground, and I like to get on the disabled. Train. So I manage myself to remember where everything is. And one day, one girl she was waiting for a person like in a wheelchair,
Hmm.
and she was like, "No, no, you need to move from here because you cannot stay here." And I was like, "I needed to." So this happened.
And there it is, right? That's what I mean about this. I guess the added pressure of having to explain or announce or justify. No, look, I actually do need this. I do, it's a really tough one, a really tough one. That I guess we take for granted and or don't think about, and that's I guess the reason for kind of raising it. And there's more and more. I loved that you mentioned dyslexia in there. And I say loved, that might not be the right word, but that's a really great example where people struggle because they don't necessarily know or they don't want to announce it, but and no one can tell just by looking at you or talking to you. There are increasingly hidden disabilities, and the work that you are doing is absolutely brilliant in terms of bringing that out into the open and supporting people with the support they need. Um, what I guess I've got two questions for you. And the first is if anybody's listening who has, be it a hidden disability, an official
Oh,
hidden disability,
that is a big
or
one, but
something
the
that
advice that
holds
it
them back
costs
or
me the
hinders them,
most, and I
what would
think the
your
ones
advice
that
be
everyone
to them?
should do, is like stop yourself from not giving you the opportunity to enjoy life just because you have something. It's like I said, you have the choice to change your present, and you can always pick like what do you want from like. And I know that it
Yeah,
sounds easy, and I know that you say like no because I have this and that and that. Is have a good relationship with your mind. That girl that is inside you is fearful of all the things that happens to her in the past. That girls need you in the present. So if you stay with your inner child, you say like, okay, I'm here with you. We can do this. I think it's a really, really, really big job that everyone needs to do. And it is not coming from a big drama that happens to you. Everyone has these things in life. But when you are in peace with yourself, it makes everything much more easy. And when people say put yourself first, it's not I'm going to treat myself with a chocolate today or I'm going to buy me clothes. Is put yourself first in your body. Like go with your body and say to you, like, what do I really need today? Do I need some yoga? Do I need some breathing? What is the thing that is going to make my day better for me today? That for me is a game changing because that is putting yourself first. That's my advice.
I, I love that. Two things you just pulled up on there, and I absolutely love. So let's talk inner child for a second, because you're right. I mean, there is that piece that says we are all basically children running around in adult bodies. And yeah, well, we are. And until we do the work that you've done, I've done, the people listening are doing, and that is understanding that we are basically all children running around in adult bodies, but we have an opportunity right here, right now, to be kind to that child, but also realize we're not that child anymore. We are now grown adults who get to choose slightly differently. And I love that you've said, you're so right. Yeah, this all sounds so easy, doesn't it? It's not easy. You don't pretend that it's easy. I don't pretend that it's easy. It sounds easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But it is achievable. It is possible for us to make those shifts and changes. And you're absolutely right about putting yourself first. That isn't about spend the money on you, although you can do that too, listeners, if that's what you want to do. It is that listening to what you need and giving yourself what you need, which links so perfectly to everything you described in terms of looking after yourself when you were going
Yeah.
through that
Yeah.
time of your vision getting worse and
And
not
because
knowing what the
we
answers
grow up
were.
thinking
Actually, the
that the
key
things
was you
that
had to
our
look after yourself,
parents
or it would
tell
have got
us is
worse.
like the
It really
reality.
would.
Like if you grow up
I
in
love
money
that. I really
mindset
do.
in a family, if you grow up, I don't know, whatever thing that you didn't think about, like, oh, maybe there is another option. So it's good to
Yeah.
question our belief and say like, oh, this match with me or I want this. So that is really good.
But we're not taught to do that, are we? We're not taught that as children. We're taught to believe what we're told. We're taught to respect and honour what we're taught, what we're told and what our parents have handed down. And it's that time old piece, isn't it? We believe what we believe until we don't believe, until we question. But there's so much, certainly in our generation, there's so much conflict where I was certainly told, children should be seen and not heard. They should do as do as you're told. I mean, literally, I can hear my mum. I can hear her voice in my head. Do as you're told, young lady. So all of that then kind of brings you into adulthood. And unless you do the work you've done, I do, the listeners do, you don't know that you can question it. And I guess that is ultimately the number one purpose of the She is Courageous podcast, is to say, do you know what, question it, challenge it, challenge yourself, think differently. If it's not working for you to think the way you are, think differently. And you are a brilliant example of someone who has had an experience brought into their lives that they could have gone, do you know what? It's out of my control. I can't do anything. And instead, what you have done is said, okay, I can't change that, but I can change how I tackle this, how I navigate it. It's just incredible. How do you keep that now? Like, how do you keep motivated? How do you keep that incredible smile on your face?
I always
Just in
said that
like
I
everyday
am
life, what are
like a granny
your
in a young body.
absolute go-tos to keep your
But yeah,
mindset
I am a
strong?
daily person. I love a routine. And when I was young, I used to please other people. Like if someone tell me like, "Oh, you want to come here," and I have something to do, I will say no to me and do the things with the people. And now it's like, no, I wake up early, really early, and I love it. I go to the gym. I do, depends on the day. I do or meditation or do some breath work. So to balance and start the day with a different mindset. I also have the policy of no phones for minimum 12 hours from 9 to 9. I don't like to have my phone with me. So
Yeah.
a lot of exercise, eating well, and not because I have to be in a certain weight
Brilliant.
or because I want to be a granny who swings and jump. I want to have variety and be able to do all those things. So for me, my body is my temple, and that is my priority.
Oh,
And
I
all
love
those things are the
that.
things that I really love to do. And also at the end, when I finish work and everything, I like to
Yeah.
have my hour of crochet, sewing, having my time for that is what makes me really. And when I'm doing all those things, I'm really happy and I can share my love with other people. If I travel and I stay with the phone and TikTok until 11 p.m. the next day, I'm grumpy. I can tell that.
Interestingly, I was having a conversation with someone just last week, not on the podcast, and she said exactly the same. She'd been paying attention to her patterns. And she said, I realised when I'm on my phone in the evenings, I don't sleep and I'm grumpy the next day. When I don't go on my phone in the evening, I sleep better. It's as simple as that. And she's like, how had I not noticed that? And she'd just been tracking it. And I think what's really important, and I guess just sharing, kind of playing back some of what you just described. Bless you, calling yourself a bit of a granny. But I love that actually what you're saying is, you know what? I want to be fit and healthy and I want to be able to jump around. But also, I think just hearing you talk about some of the activities that you partake in, so subtly, let's also break the myths here. You 60% of your vision, you've lost 60% of your vision, and you just described, I crochet, I knit, I sew. Like, so many people would potentially think those things are not available to you because of your eyesight, and actually you're like, no, I still do these things, I can still do these things and I enjoy them. And I guess I just wanted to kind of, if you didn't hear her say that, listen to that. This woman is
Yeah,
absolute
I learned when I
evidence that
was
life
I learned
life
when I was
can go
26,
on.
so I was
You can still
blind.
do
So
the
for me,
things you
that
want to
was
do, and
my
you find
normal.
the way.
I learned how to sew first. And for me, because I cannot see from the beginning, I don't know if the line is really, really
Wow.
straight 100%, but it's well done. I wear my clothes, so it works.
I love that. Do you know Well, I mean, in some ways, I mean, if you saw my sewing, Itzia, you'd think I didn't have 50% of my vision, quite frankly. It's not good at all. But actually, because I can see it, I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible. I kind of love the freedom that you're almost saying, I can't see it. I'm wearing my clothes and I think they look great. Love the freedom that's giving you. I have one last question for you. And it is very simply, if you could go back to, let's say, 18-year-old Itzia, before 21, before you lost your sight,
I think that
what would you
we
say
are
to her?
the things happen in
Knowing,
the
like,
right time
if
for
you
us,
knew what
and
was coming,
we
like, what
have
would you
to
go
have
back and
that
say
in
to
certain
18-year-old
time
Itzia?
because we need it at that moment. But if I have that opportunity and if can have give me the advice, I will say that connect with your body early because I was living in my mind. I was not connecting with my body, and I think that will make everything go faster and travel more.
Oh wow. That I love that phrase. I was living in my mind because you are a very big advocate for how the mindset work is really important, but actually that, look after your body, move your body, live in your body, not just your mind, is such an important statement because I think people could confuse that. I think too many of us live in our heads. We really do. And actually, we've got to get out of our heads and into movement, action, do the things. And your balance of the two is what is actually set you on the path you are now on. Itzia, you are an incredible woman, and your story is an absolute inspiration. The way that you have navigated what so many would have potentially, I don't know, but many may have let be, a complete block in the road. You made the springboard to the next iteration of you. And the way that you share your story and inspire others experiencing hidden disabilities or challenges of their own is incredible. And I am so grateful to you for joining us on the She is Courageous podcast. You are 100%
Oh, thank
the
you
the
so much for
example of
having
what
me.
courageous looks
It
like.
has
You
been
live and
a
breathe
lovely
courage. And
experience, and
thank
chatting with
you
you
for
is
sharing your
so
story with
easy,
our
and I really
listeners.
enjoy that. And thank you for all the people that
Brill.
listen to you. And I hope that if I can help like just one person, I will be happy, but happy to help anyone that needs help.
Brilliant. And we will put everything in the show notes, but let's just ask the question for those that listen right through to the end. It's here. If anybody wanted to
All my
reach out
social
to
media
you,
has
was
my name
interested
and my
in the work
surname,
that
so
you
it's
do,
easy
what
to
is the
find. It's
best way
Itziar
for people to
Martos,
find you,
and my
connect with you?
website
Where
is
would you
the
like
same.
us to
It's
send people?
itziarmartos.com. So if they want to reach out and know more, social media is the place.
Fantastic. We will, as I say, we will put all of that in the show notes. But if you are someone that is dealing with hidden disabilities, challenges that you're facing, or know someone that would really benefit from understanding the work that Itzia is championing and moving forward, then go give her a follow, reach out, go seek her out and see what she's up to. She is on an absolute mission to support, empower, and inspire men and women in business with hidden disabilities. She is absolutely out there helping them all move forward. It's a pleasure to have met you. It has been such a great conversation. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the She is Courageous podcast. And to those of you listening, I look forward to bringing our next guest in the next few weeks. Thanks as always. And remember, she is courageous and she is you.